Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my second Creepy Diaries video for you guys. And this was titled Three Disturbing True Taxi Drivers Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
It was around 2 a.m. when I stumbled out of the bar, the neon lights flickering in the cool night air.
Okay.
The city was quiet, with only a few people wandering the streets. I was exhausted after a long day and just wanted to get home. I waved down a taxi, and it pulled up to the curb with a screech. The driver, a man in his mid-40s with a scruffy beard and tired eyes, gave me a nod as I climbed in. "Where to?" he asked, his voice raspy. "Just take me home," I replied, giving him my address. As we drove through the nearly empty streets, he started making small talk. At first, it seemed harmless.
Seemed a little harmless at first. Just have somebody to talk to after you had a rough day. But usually if somebody is like tired and just got out of a bar, they would rather just sleep off their drunkenness inside of a cab or Uber driver's car until they get to their destination. So something tells me that this driver is going to try to get some personal information out of this dude, and he don't even know it yet. But that's my theory, so let's just continue with this guy's story, see what happens next.
"Late night, huh?" he said, glancing at me in the rearview mirror. "Yeah, just came from a party," I answered, looking out the window. "Must have been fun." "You party a lot?" he asked, his tone friendly. "Not really," I said, hoping to end the conversation. But he didn't take the hint. "So, where do you work?" I hesitated before answering. "I work in an office, nothing exciting." "What kind of office?" he pressed. "Just a regular one," I said, trying to sound casual. His questions were starting to feel intrusive. "Do you live alone?" he asked, his eyes locking onto mine in the mirror. No, I have roommates," I lied, feeling a knot form in my stomach. He chuckled, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "That's good. It's safer that way."
Oh, man, I would get shivers down my spine too if he said that remark. Because I bet you he'll probably drop you off and you get inside to go to sleep. He would probably end up breaking into your house later to steal some stuff or even kidnap you. You just don't know nowadays what sinister taxi drivers have in mind.
I nodded, not knowing what else to say. I could feel my pulse quickening as I realized how isolated we were on the empty streets. "Do you usually come home this late?" he continued, his questions becoming more personal. "Sometimes," I muttered, wishing the ride would end soon. "Well, it's dangerous out there, you know. You never know who you might run into," he said, a strange smile creeping onto his face. We finally reached my apartment building. I quickly reached for my wallet, eager to get out of the car. "Here we are," he said, but made no move to unlock the doors. "You know, we could hang out sometime. I could show you around the city, keep you safe." I forced a smile, trying to hide my unease. "Thanks, but I'm really busy these days." He didn't respond immediately, just kept staring at me in the mirror. After what felt like an eternity, he unlocked the doors. I handed him the fare and practically jumped out of the car. "Good night," he called after me, but his voice had a strange, lingering tone. I rushed inside my building, my heart pounding. Once I was in my apartment, I locked the door and double-checked it, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. But the feeling of unease lingered. I couldn't shake the driver's eyes from my mind, or the way he had asked those questions. It was as if he had been trying to piece together my life, to find a way in. For days after, I found myself looking over my shoulder, feeling a creeping sense of dread. I changed my routines, hoping to avoid ever running into him again. But no matter what I did, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, somewhere, watching and waiting.
I'm just glad he got into his apartment and that taxi driver did not decide to park his taxi and wait until he went to sleep and break in. But yeah, somebody trying to get a lot of information out of you, that's not cool. Like you said, try to piece your life together, probably just to follow you. And if you told him where you worked at, he'd probably end up stalking you there or try to steal some things there. But I don't know what would happen. Luckily, nothing bad has happened to him. But I feel bad that he has to look over his shoulder every time, thinking that that driver's around. But hey, I would too, because those questions and remarks that the taxi driver gave him really creeped me out. But anyway, let's get to story number 2, shall we?
It started on a Monday morning. I stepped outside my house to head to work and noticed a taxi parked across the street. I didn't think much of it at first. Taxis are common in the city, always coming and going. But then it happened again on Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday. Each morning, the same yellow cab, parked in the same spot. By Thursday, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Why would a taxi be parked in the same spot every morning? That evening, after a long day at work, I decided to walk to the supermarket. It was getting late, and the sky was darkening. After finishing my shopping, I thought it would be best to take a taxi home. I stepped out of the supermarket and saw a taxi idling by the curb. I flagged it down and got in, my bags heavy with groceries. As I settled into the back seat, I realized with a jolt that it was the same taxi that had been parked outside my house.
Okay, that's a little suspicious. Why is this taxi driver just eyeballing him down? And waited at that right opportunity just to have him flag him down and pick him up. Probably wanted to get some information out of him when he picks him up about his daily routine, just like in the last guy's story. Or possibly might end up kidnapping him. I don't know. But let's just continue on with this story and see what happens, shall we?
The driver was a middle-aged man with a blank expression. He didn't say a word as I gave him my address. The ride was silent and unnerving. The driver didn't engage in any small talk, just kept his eyes on the road. I could feel my heart pounding, every nerve on edge. When we finally reached my house, he didn't stop immediately. He slowed down and drove past, then circled back and parked right in front. I paid quickly and got out, eager to be inside. As I walked to my door, I glanced back and saw him watching me. He didn't drive away until I was safely inside, the lock clicking behind me. The next morning, I peeked out my window. The taxi was there again, but parked further down the street this time. I couldn't take it anymore. I called the police and reported the suspicious vehicle. They said they'd send someone to check it out. For the next few days, the taxi was gone. I began to relax, thinking maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe the driver had a reason for being there. But the sense of unease lingered. I felt like I was being watched. A week later, I was coming home from work when I saw it again. The same taxi, parked at the end of the block. My heart raced. I rushed inside and locked the door, my hands trembling. I checked all the windows, making sure they were secure. That night, I barely slept. Every noise made me jump.
Okay, I'll be calling the cops back, telling them that that cab is back, just idling near his place, and it won't leave. Because I know if that cab driver saw me walking out there with a aluminum baseball bat, he'll hit the pedal to the metal and go. But I bet he's probably waiting for the right time just for him to walk out of his taxi and sneak into his house.
I kept picturing the driver's face, his empty eyes staring at me. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, somewhere, watching me. The next morning, I called the police again. They assured me they'd look into it, but the taxi was gone by the time they arrived. It never came back after that, but the damage was done. I felt like a prisoner in my own home, constantly on edge, looking over my shoulder. Even now, months later, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time I see a taxi, my heart skips a beat. The city doesn't feel safe anymore. And the worst part is, I never got any answers. The driver, the taxi, the strange silence, it all remains a mystery, a dark cloud hanging over my life.
Man, I'll be furious too if you call the cops and that taxi just took off knowing that he'll be in trouble. I would like to know what he's up to unless he was just spying on him, figuring out his routine just so he could pick him up all the time. But that's just weird. Unless this guy has criminal history, that is. But I'm just glad that the taxi never showed up again, even though he's scared to even walk out of his own home now. But if you don't see it no more, he should be okay to go. I'm just sorry that this had to happen to this guy.
I had a business meeting in Beacon, a quiet little town in New York. I took a taxi from my hotel to the meeting spot. The driver was a middle-aged man with a scruffy beard and tired eyes. He didn't say much, which I appreciated, because I was busy going over my notes for the meeting. After a short drive, we arrived at my destination. I paid the fare, thanked the driver, and stepped out of the cab. I walked into the building, ready to nail this presentation. But as I reached into my pocket for my ID, I realized my wallet was missing. Panic set in. My wallet had my ID, credit cards, and cash. I must have left it in the taxi. I rushed outside, but the cab was gone. I pulled out my phone and called the taxi company. After a few rings, the driver picked up. "Hello?" His voice was gruff. "Hi, I just got out of your cab. I think I left my wallet in there," I said, trying to stay calm. "Wallet?" "No, there's no wallet here," he replied quickly, almost too quickly. "Are you sure? Can you check again, please? It must have slipped out of my pocket." "I already checked. There's nothing here," he insisted.
Yeah, if he's responding quickly by saying, "No, there ain't no wallet here," he's lying. He already found it, and he's probably going to hold on to all that cash, and I'll be threatening him and be like, "Look, I know I left it there. If you don't come around and prove it to me that it's not in there, then I'm going to have to report you to your taxi company or call the police."
I was certain I left it in the cab. "Can we meet so I can check myself? It's really important." There was a long pause. "Fine. I'll be back where I dropped you off in 10 minutes. I paced the sidewalk, watching every taxi that passed. Eventually, his cab pulled up. The driver got out, looking uneasy. "Mind if I check inside?" I asked. He hesitated, but then stepped aside. I climbed into the back seat and looked around. At first glance, I didn't see anything. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something sticking out from under the seat. I reached down and pulled out my wallet. "There it is," I said, relieved but also angry. "Why didn't you see it?" The driver's face turned red. Must have missed it. I opened the wallet to make sure everything was there. My cash was missing. "My money's gone." The driver's eyes darted around. "I don't know anything about that. Maybe it fell out somewhere else." I knew he was lying. The way he avoided eye contact and fidgeted made it clear. "Look, just give me my money back and we'll forget about this." "I told you I don't have your money." His voice was getting louder, more defensive. I felt a knot in my stomach. This man was hiding something, and I didn't know what he might do next. "I'm going to call the police," I threatened, hoping it would scare him into being honest. His expression darkened. "There's no need for that. Just get out of my cab." My heart was racing. I grabbed my wallet and quickly got out, never taking my eyes off him. As I stood on the sidewalk, watching him drive away, I felt a chill run down my spine. Something about the whole encounter was deeply unsettling. Back inside, I called the taxi company again and reported the incident. They promised to look into it, but I had a feeling nothing would come of it. I couldn't shake the image of the driver's nervous eyes and the way he tried to rush me out of the cab. The meeting went poorly. I couldn't concentrate. My mind kept drifting back to the driver and what he might have done. Even after I returned home, the encounter haunted me. Every time I took a taxi, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of fear, wondering if I'd encounter another driver like him. It was a simple mistake, leaving my wallet in the cab, but the uneasy feeling it left me with was something I couldn't forget.
This is why when people get out of a taxi or Uber, always pat your pockets down just to make sure you got everything, because sometimes you may have loose change or a pocket knife or even your wallet will slip out every now and then. But I knew that cab driver must have found the wallet and he decided to take the cash out of it and put the wallet back in the seat and act like he was going to take the cards and ID later. But man, I hope the cab company does fire that dude for taking that guy's money. But if not, they're a bunch of idiots and believe they're a taxi driver instead. But man, I still would have called the police and see if they can get that guy to cooperate. If not, he was going to jail that night. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Creepy Diaries content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.